Hello. I normally just do like my top books of the year, but this year I feel like I had enough terrible books that I can do the best and the worst of the year. So here's that. Who am I? I feel like a whole new person. 2022 just like brought out all this new stuff for me, and it's been great. So I came up with like a list of my 10 best books this year, and I have technically 7 worst books this year, and then I kind of included just which ones I DNF'd, which we'll get into. So to start off on a good note, we'll talk about the best books that I read this year. So there are 10 of those, and 9 of them I own physically, and one of those 9 is currently not technically here, but we'll get into that. So my top 10 books of 2022. To start off, we have The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. I feel like it's been forever since I read this book, but wow, this was amazing. Aside from the ending that I kind of got ticked off at, everything about this book was incredible, and this just keeps proving to me that Brandon Sanderson is like one of my favorite authors of all time, because this is the sequel to Mistborn, and Mistborn was like one of my top books in 2021. I feel like I just read like one Brandon Sanderson book a year. That's what we're at the moment, but like, you know what, I'm doing okay with that. I'm doing okay. And in this one we're still following Vin and, oh my gosh, Elend. Yeah, Elend. To remember people's names, you know, that's the one thing I'm terrible at. I can tell you everything that happened here. Could I name a single person? Not really. But we do follow Vin and Elend, and their relationship in this one is more prevalent, but they're also like going through their own stuff again, which I very much appreciated. They're very independent, even though they are together in this one. And what happened to Elend at the end was kind of not fun for me, but we'll see in the third one what really happens. I'll read that in 2023. Just wait. It will show up on the 2023 best books. We hope. That's my prediction, at least. Next up we have, by the way, these aren't in any particular order. These are just in the order that I read them and completed them. So that's the order they're in. They're not like ranked at all. These are all same level kind of. But next, at number 2 that I read this year, we have Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahiran. And I put this one because I loved the love in this one. The fake marriage between the 2 main characters, who I don't remember their names. Oh my gosh, Louise and Reed. The fake marriage between them, everything that Louise is hiding, everything that Reed can't process. Oh my gosh, it was so cute. I have never put so many highlights in a book before, and I used a purple highlighter, and I just remember having such a fun time being like, oh, I love this. Oh, I love this. Oh, I love this love. It was just so cute and adorable, and we'll get into the sequel later. And the next one I have is Molokai. This one is by Alan Brennert, and I read this one as a monthly challenge one, so there's a whole vlog dedicated to this one. And oh my gosh, this made me, so this is about 300 pages long, about that, I want to say. So well, 400 pages long. And for about 200 pages, 250 pages of this book, I was crying. It was so good, so cute, and just, oh my gosh. We're following Rachel, who is a leper in Hawaii, and like, I think the book starts off in 1891. And she gets taken away from her family and is moved to Molokai with the rest of the people with the same disease, so that they can just live out the rest of their days and die. And it's so sad. Like, this is following basically her whole life since 1891, when she's like 5 and she first gets the disease. And oh my gosh, it is just wow. I am reading the second one right now. It is also just wow. The issues and like topics that it brings up are just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I can't even get into it. I don't want to get into it because I will cry. The next book on the list I do have a vlog for, but it has not been completed, so it's not up yet, but it will be, so you can see my whole thoughts on this. And it is Crave by Tracy Wolff. This isn't actually Crave, this is Crush. I just put the dust jacket on because it's being lent out right now. But I fully annotated it. I had so much fun. Crave is one of those books that you pick up when you're like, wow, I really need this right now. And you read it and you're like, this is exactly what I wanted, exactly what I needed. it just felt like the right moment to read it. And Crave was that for me. It really helped me when I was struggling a lot with my mental health in 2022, when I was kind of at an impasse with everything that was going on. And it just made me so happy because we're following Grace, I think is her name. Gracie Jackson. I don't remember her name. Anyways, it has hilarious chapter titles, by the way. You need to like read this just for the chapter titles. It is like the cheesiest, most garbage piece of flaming hot sitting on the side of the road. But oh my god, it's perfect. It's perfection. And it was everything that I need in my life. I literally cannot wait for it to end. I am on the 3rd book right now, but I'm also like, I don't want it to finish because if I get to the 5th book and the 6th book gets delayed again, I'm going to be very upset. So I'm kind of like putting off reading the 3rd book even though I've already started it. So it's a thing. But 10 out of 10. Y'all should read this. The next book I have on this list is A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. And oh my gosh, this is also something that I just read in a moment and I was like, wow, this is exactly what I needed. It was perfect for the time. It was just, it's Persephone's and Hades retelling in modern times where everybody knows who the gods and goddesses, they know who they are, they're like celebrities. And Persephone is a new goddess who hasn't been alive for very long, but she's in college, she's trying to become a journalist, and then she makes a deal with Hades. And oh my gosh, it's so good. Oh my gosh. The one thing I didn't like about it was that Persephone was naive, and I fully believe that she was not naive when she was making her decisions, so I disagree on that. But incredible. It was just so good, and I honestly haven't even read the 2nd book yet, but I'm so excited. So excited for the next one. I like Persephone's point of view more than Hades because we'll get into the Hades one in a moment. Number 6. This is my favorite book of the year, and I'm gonna tell you it's because of polyamory, and it is The War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Wow, Jennifer L. Armentrout. There we go. Not because like it's in here alone, but that it was represented really well, and I very much appreciated how it was represented in the sense of different kinds of love, which is how I view it, and I so much appreciated that. It kind of like hurt that a lot of people were like, this is disgusting, why would you do this? Like in reviews and stuff, and rated really low because I honestly just loved being thought of in a way that was normal and accepted. You know, does that make any sense? Do I make feel like I'm gonna start rambling? But I also cried reading this because wow, incredible. You may not like this series, but I love it. Next up we have a horror. Actually, number 8 is a horror, which is wild. Who am I? I put just like a regular fiction book on here and a horror. Everything else is fantasy, obviously. But we have The Shadows by Alex North. This is not necessarily a sequel to The Whisper Man, but it deals with some stuff in The Whisper Man, like they mention it. So if you read The Whisper Man, those comments make more sense. But it is a horror about the shadows are woods that they have, and it's just telling about how a murder happened to one of the main character's best friends as kids, but you don't know anything until the end. You think you know what's happening, but you don't know nothing, okay? You know nothing. Go into this knowing nothing, because you're not going to know nothing until you get to those last 50 pages and all is revealed and you're like, wait, that's going on? I thought this was going on, not this. Oh my gosh. Insane. Next up we have The Wicked King by Holly Black. Back to fantasy again. Wow. I liked The Cruel Prince. I loved The Wicked King. The ending of this, the betrayal, the plot twist. I need to read the next one, but I can't because there's too many other things on the dock right now. But I need this in my life forever. This was so good. I couldn't put it down. Like, wow. Good job, Holly. Like, shout out to Holly Black. She is incredible. And we all know this, right? I hope you all know this. If you don't know this, what are you doing? I can't talk too much about it because I will spoil the ending. Number 9, we have, surprise, surprise, Sarah J. Maas book, and it is Airfire. This one made me cry. This one made me want to scream. This one was just wow, you know? Just wow. I haven't read any more after this point. I've read the first 3 books in the Throne of Glass series, and I just need moments to collect myself because this was just wow. You know? Do you ever feel that way? You're like, I finish a book and then I know I want to pick up the next one immediately, but like I really just need to process everything that happened. Do you feel that? Do you feel that way? That's how I feel about this series. I just need to process it. Throne of Glass took me so long to read, and I got to like the last, I think it was like 15 pages, and I went to a movie instead of finishing it. That was a mistake. But this thing, I should have taken less time to read it, and I'm gonna regret putting it down and not picking up. I know Assassin's Blade is what I have to read next for like a while, so I'm gonna regret that, but here we are. And my 10th and final favorite read of the year was The Midnight Library, whose name I can't remember because I don't own a physical copy of this book, but the author will be provided here. And wow, I read this one, or I listened to it, I guess. I listened to the audiobook for a vlog as well, so there is a separate vlog on this one. It was one of my 12 challenge books. I need to buy a copy, like desperately need to buy a copy, because this was just wow. It was just wow. I can't get over the wow factor. I can't get over how much joy this brought me, even though the whole topic about it was death and this lady talking about how she's dying, for trigger warning for suicide, but she's dying, and she goes to the Midnight Library and she lives out a million different lives trying to figure out what she wants and what she wants to change. And it's just, it was so good. But since those are my favorites, my top 10 of the year, now we get to talk about my least favorites, the worst books of 2022 for me. And for that there was 7 of them, which is a whole range of reasons and why and all that stuff. I actually own 2 of them still and I'm keeping them, but they're the worst books. These again are in no particular order, with number 1 and number 4 being my least favorite. I will tell you that right now. They are just again in the order that I read them in, and then I'll tell you my DNFs this year. And we'll go through this really quickly. But for bad, number 1, Angels and Demons. I've already gotten rid of my copy of this because it was absolute garbage. There's a vlog where I read this book, inside vlog, with 2 other books. But let me tell you, Dan Brown is a fat phobic piece of shit that you don't even notice, because there's so much science going on that you don't even notice that every time he introduces a woman he goes, she was slightly heavy set. With a camera woman shoving a tape in her fat rolls and sprinting? Yeah, I don't think so. That was just, stick to the movies. I'm gonna tell you that right now, stick to the movies. If you like it, yeah. Oh, I can't get over it. How stupid that was. It was so stupid. Anyways. Next up is gonna be a surprise, but it's Blood and Honey. I know I talked about how much I love Serpent and Dove, but to create a character just to kill off in this book, a sweet little innocent character like Rue in the Hunger Games, just to have them die, to show that the world is not as innocent as it seems and it's actually garbage, was not a good choice. It was not good. This is a filler book. Nothing happened in here other than this unnecessary death to show how terrible the world is. There was no point. No point. Hunger Games did that. Move on. Hunger Games did it twice, actually. Move on. I wrote beside this one, worst written. A Game of Fate. I loved A Touch of Darkness, but A Game of Fate was literally just A Touch of Darkness copied and pasted with pronouns, or changed. Like, literally just, they switched point of views. With some insert secret spy scenes that Hades did on his own time. It's not worth it. If you think, oh wow, this will be worth it after you read how amazing Touch of Darkness is, and then you're like, I want more, there's nothing more in this. There isn't. It's copied and pasted. Doesn't even flow well. I wrote a joke next to this one, but it is A Goddess Test by, I think, Amy Carter. Correct me if I'm wrong. It will be on the screen. If you watch my 30 books in 30 days video, you'll saw how much I ranted about this. I finished this book and I immediately took this one and the next one, because I had the sequel already, and I put them into this into the library, the little library at the end of my street. Not only does she character bend some of the characters, but she doesn't follow along to anything that the Greek gods and goddesses are known for or are, like in even like anything. You could have read Percy Jackson and then written this better about the Greek gods, because tell me why Hera, the goddess of marriage and the only one interested in her marriage, is in love with Hades and pawning after him and killing people to get to him and to marry him because she's jealous. Tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why. What else was there? Athena was so shallow and stupid, and we didn't even see Ares half the time because he didn't have a personality, and this is the most pick-me girl I've ever fucking seen in my life. Like, the main character, who is the new Persephone, by the way, I have never seen anybody like that before. She literally meets this girl, tells her she's a piece of shit, her boyfriend's a piece of shit, she shouldn't be with him, tells her to break up with him, but I'm not interested in your boyfriend. It was so stupid. It was ridiculous. Don't read it. If it's on your TBR, take it off. 5 and 6, we have our graphic novels that I also read during 30 books in 30 days. The first one was Monstrous. It didn't really make sense. The art was not bad. Like, it was cool art, but like, wow. There was no point. What was this? I don't know what I read. Couldn't tell you. I don't know what happened. Nothing. Literally nothing happened. It was weird. There was no explanations. I don't know. Didn't make any sense. The other one, number 6, I put low volume 1 and 2. I only read volume 1 a little bit, and it was not interesting. It was boring. Flat. Nothing happened. I DNF'd it technically. And I did not read volume 2. Also, the artwork was, it was okay. I don't know. Not worth it in my opinion. And number 7, we have Just Ella. Don't know who this is by. I don't like retellings, but I will say this is the worst Cinderella retelling I've ever read. The worst retelling I've ever read. It's not worth your time. Even though the cover is pretty, it is not worth your time. It was just, after the I do's and stuff, when they're, or not I do's I guess, after the ball when they're like, oh, we're getting married, we need to turn you into a princess, and Prince Charming has no fucking personality. Nothing. He's got nothing going for him, and she's like, I'm supposed to be marrying him? She like is hanging out with him once a week, like for an hour once a week. What? Now onto the DNFs. I only counted 3 DNFs officially, which I put reviews on. You can see put their story graph as DNFs. On Goodreads I just say I read them, but put reviews. First one's The Wolf and the Woodsman, which I got 50% of the way through. I should have just counted it because I got it through. And nothing was happening. I know a lot of people love this book, but I was severely bored. I couldn't do it. Number 2, The Sirens of Titan. I felt stupid reading this. I don't like to read something and feel like an idiot, so I gave up. I also got like 50% of the way through that. And number 3, The Black Swan of Paris. I don't want to cry. I can only handle World War II things in specific mindsets because I need to be prepared, and I was not prepared to read this, so I DNF'd it instead. I want to read it. I've heard good things, but I can't handle it mentally, you know? I fake DNFs that I did. Ones that I said that I finished reading, gave them a rating to, but didn't actually finish reading. Once a Witch. Time travel. It was really good. It was really, really good until they were like, oh, we're traveling through time. And I was like, oh, we're not doing this. I don't like time travel. Don't Get Caught. I'm not the intended audience for this. It is meant for teenage boys trying to get into reading. It's about pranks. I was not interested. Somebody else will enjoy it a lot more than me. The Cellist of Sarajevo. I'm definitely saying that wrong. World War II novel. I was not interested. I read like 80% of this. No idea what the fuck was going on. Not a clue. Gave up. Wings. Didn't like the voice. I did not like how it was written. It felt like a Wattpad book written by a 13-year-old. Just didn't like the voice. I didn't finish Nameless, but I want to. But it's also a retelling, and I don't like retellings. Like, I don't like retellings, says the person with all the twisted tales right there. Yeah, don't ask me about that. We're not gonna talk about it. Daughters of Ruin, also, this was just, it was weird because we switched point of views, and then we got to the little kid Suki's point of view, and she used brackets upon brackets upon brackets upon brackets. There was like 10 brackets in each other because she kept clarifying stuff, and I was just like, I can't. Not even with an audiobook could I suffer through that. And finally we have Worlds of Ink and Shadow, which I think would be an amazing book for somebody else. I think y'all would love it, but I couldn't. It was about the Bronte siblings and what happened with them, but it was fantastical and magical, and they entered in their own world through their own writing, and it was just, oh, it was incredible, but I didn't know nothing, so I felt out of the club. I couldn't put myself through that, so I gave up. But yeah, those are the ones. That's what I did this year. My good reading, my bad reading. As you can see, there was a lot of bad reading because I DNF'd quite a few actually this year. I was just like trying to get through all the books that have been sitting here forever, and I was just throwing shit out the window, you know? I was not taking maybe, oh, it's okay this year. We were standing our ground. It was good. I enjoyed it very much. I hope you all had a good reading year, better than mine with all my fake DNFs. I hope you enjoyed a lot of books. If we have different tastes, let's talk about it in the comments, because I feel like maybe there's some books here that you guys really liked that maybe I didn't, or maybe opposite, whereas I loved a book and you guys didn't, because I know a lot of people don't like The War of Two Queens, but I feel like they don't like it for the wrong reasons. That's just me. I have a lot to say about it. Anywho, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all hopefully soon with another one. Here's to better reading in 2023. I hope I can come back with like a list of 20 favorite books again. One year I'll come back with another list of 20 favorite books. This is not that year. I went from like 20 in 2020, 19 in 2021 to 10 in 2022. So it's a little sad. Depressing. But here we are. This is what's happening. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!